Transform your body. There's a hook for you. Look, I've seen all the videos, the images, the thumbnails, but something that's quite hard to hear is that transforming your body is not an overnight fix. It's not something that just poof happens out of thin air or when you've had 1 or 2 workouts. It's something that requires knowledge, dedication, and patience. And today, in this video, my goal is to give you my very honest advice about expectations and what really happens. No fluff, no lies, just honest opinions about what you'll likely go through when you're trying to achieve something physically. Muscle growth, fat loss, your mindset, all of which this Deep South Experiment podcast is based on. So let's just get this out of the way right at the get-go, is that if you want to look like a Greek god in 6 months' time, you're probably going to be disappointed. Let's just get that out of the way early. Now, the fitness industry is typical about throwing around 20 pounds, 30 pounds, whether you lose it in fat or gain it in muscle or both at the same time, or some similar marketing BS that they wrap up and package to you in a different way on a sporadic basis, as if to say this is all new, but it's not. It's the same stuff recycled. That's an honest opinion. Because the reality is, building muscle is a very long-term game. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. And if you're trying to lose fat at the same time as you're building muscle, although it is very possible, that even takes longer. Or that takes even longer. I like that one better. And most people quit because they don't see results fast enough. And the irony is, you're not meant to see results fast. Because if you did, something would be really wrong. You'd be losing muscle rather than burning body fat. For example, it's a slow process. And the other big problem is that this whole muscle building thing is a long feedback loop. So you might not see results today, tomorrow, or months ahead of time, but keep doing the work because it is happening in the background. And the rate in which people have that little growth spurt, if you like, always varies. Some people have it as they go. Other people sort of accumulates in the background and then bang, there it is. All depends on your genetics, I suppose. And that muscle that you have is often hiding under a layer of body fat. So until you drop your body fat percentage or burn body fat, then you won't really see the hard work that you were putting in. It will always be there, but just under a blanket of body fat. So really you need to just trust the process. Once you know what you're doing in the gym and how to eat to support that, and that stimulus for growth is always being produced and the building blocks are being provided, trust that process, and we'll have a look at what that process is in just a little while. I have to address effort. I see it so much all the time. People make it to the gym. They're there. They've paid for the membership. They're in the clothes. They're ready to go. Then they get the phone out and they start scrolling on Facebook, or they'll take a photo, selfie, whatever. Now, that's all fine and well under certain circumstances, depending on the time you're doing it for, etc. But you've just got to make sure that when you're in the gym and you are putting in the effort, that's what you're concentrating on. Is you're putting in your focus, your concentration in the moment on creating a stimulus for change. Lifting weights, in other words. And yes, the other truth about it is it's bloody uncomfortable. Never have I lifted a weight and gone, oh, that was all right, that was easy, do it again tomorrow. No, it's hard, it's exhausting, and it lasts for hours afterwards if you've done it as you need to do. But as they say, comfort is the enemy of progress. Couldn't agree more. If you're comfortable in the gym, you're probably not going to see the progress you want, and at least not at the speed that you want to see it at. If you're not uncomfortable, you probably aren't growing. Period. Full stop. Whatever, that big dot at the end of a sentence. And here's a bit of controversy for you. Staying shredded all year round, just like everyone wants to do all the time. That's the guys in the magazines are like that, right? All the guys on YouTube all the time. Shredded all the time. And you think, that'll be me too. Let's get started. And then suddenly, That's not me. It must be my problem. But no, the realistic expectation is that being shredded all year round, A, it's hard to do, and B, why do you want to do it? Because you're probably holding yourself back from gaining the muscle that you want to gain, and it makes getting leaner and staying lean that much harder. Oh, and if you're insisting on staying at a certain level of leanness, you've got to think about what you're doing to your hormones. Testosterone is a bit of a question mark in that sense. Your hunger levels, how can you live your life hungry all the time? Which you probably will be, unless you're a special person. And if you are a special person that doesn't get hunger all the time, being lean all the time, good on you. I wish I was you. But you get so much hunger, and the chances are you're probably going to be paranoid or develop paranoia about everything you're putting into your mouth, which is a horrible way to live. But that's probably what's going to happen, or what is required, if you decide to try and stay lean all year round. Because if you want to gain muscle, you have to eat. And no, it's not about going on to an episode of Man vs. Food. Don't know if that show's still going or not, but it was a lot of eating that was required, so don't do that. It doesn't mean raiding your fridge or the pantry and just eating everything you can, thinking, I want to build muscle, so therefore I shall eat like my life depends on it. It's not about that. Or helping a supermarket clean out its out-of-date stock, or close to out-of-date stock. I see crowds of people hovering around out-of-date stock sometimes, and I just think, you want to eat, don't you? That's fine. But yeah, don't be that person. But what it does mean is hitting your calories every day, or what you perceive your calories to be, and making sure you consume the protein that you need, because that helps with both muscle building and fat loss. The other honest truth is that muscle building is a fragile process. Cardio, stress, social situations, poor sleep, all of the above can interfere with muscle building, or the rate of muscle building, the speed in which muscle builds. Plus, the harder you train, the harder it becomes to recover. It's a vicious cycle we have here, but that's the reality of this whole muscle building, fat loss situation. But now you're probably wanting some good news, so I have some for you. Thank me later, or just like or comment or subscribe. That'll do just fine. But the good news is you will start to feel your gains long before you can see them. It's probably a bad thing actually, but yeah. You'll feel better, and then you'll look better. You probably want that the other way around, maybe, but yeah, that's the way it is. Harsh truth. But then when you do feel good and look good, everything will be worthwhile. Probably. And perhaps the main reason people give up on this whole thing is because they think they're not genetically gifted enough to reach the thing that they have, the image that they have in their head, or that they're striving for. They probably think, I can't get there because I'm not genetically gifted. There are some people out there that, of course, that are. They either never put on body weight, or they blow up amazingly fast, and then here you are struggling to do one or both of those things, and you just think, ugh, God, I'm just not meant to be that person. But I'm willing to bet that person is actually not training hard enough and or smart enough. Another topic for another day. Fascinating one as well, by the way, look out for it. Subscribe if you want to not miss out on that. I think that's what you say at this point. So there you go. Please, thank you very much. That's the awkward stuff out of the way. But just try to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Strange as that sounds, a bit contradictory, but that's pretty true. And just lean into the hard stuff when those exercises that are bloody difficult cause you a lot of pain, or the compound stuff, the squats, the deadlifts, the chest, the big muscle groups there. Do it. Go for it. Don't avoid them. Get into it. And those will help you to progress, not focusing on the smaller sort of so-called isolation exercises. I don't believe you can ever really isolate a muscle. But just lean into that tough stuff and get as close to failure as you can. You don't always have to go to failure, because that'll bug you up over time. But just really get to that point where you're just like, whoa, this is hard work, and try to achieve that every time. And if you're worried about injury concerns, like the dumbbell doesn't quite feel stable enough or whatever, then ask for help. I guarantee people will be itching to help you out, because everyone in that gym environment, most of the time, and depending on the gym, are very supportive of one another, including you. And just remember that point of where you are approaching or you are at failure, that's where the magic happens. You hit that point every time, or most of the time, you will see so much growth. If you avoid it and you're just going through the motions saying, oh, I've done a bit today, I felt it was a bit hard, I think that's enough. If you're just staying in that zone, you probably aren't going to see the progress you want, and that may well be the problem. That's the training hard and smart thing I was on about before. But one good truth is that you'll be glad to hear you don't have to have it all figured out now. You can make a start with what you know or what you think you know, and then as time goes on, you will know more. You'll become more experienced, you'll talk to others, you'll listen to podcasts, etc., and you'll get better and better and better. But just start now. You don't need to know everything from word go. Perfection is not important, it's consistency. Envision where you want to be in 6 months' time, and then aim for it, and just don't ever give up. Just like John Cena says, for all those wrestling fans out there, hold the towel up, don't ever give up. Has the armband, get a set of those, and go in there like John Cena. I'm not going to give up, and away you go. It's a people's eyebrow there for The Rock. So, after all that, well, let's just say I'm Simon from the Deep South Experiment Podcast, and I focus here on muscle building, fat loss, and the mindset. And if you want to help the channel grow, which of course you do, right? Then please like, subscribe, and a comment. Let's see what you have to say. I think that ticks that box for now. So are you ready to transform your body? That's the big question. After all of that, all the truths, are you ready to go? Now that you know the reality of what you're dealing with, that you have the expectations, etc. It'll be worth it. Push hard, work smart, be consistent, don't give up, see where you go. Oh, and trust the process. Make sure you know what the process is, and then trust it. And don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. Become comfortable at being uncomfortable. Quite like that phrase. Ever since I said it before, I was like, yeah, great, good. So, if you like that phrase, give us a like. Yeah, I think that's how this whole thing works. But thanks for joining me this far, if you're still here. And I will see you in the next one.